Hundreds of millions of dollars worth of cocaine will never make it to the streets after the Coast Guard seized it at sea. CBS 4's Riel Creighton is live at Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale, where nearly 35,000 pounds of those drugs were offloaded. Riel.
Well, there were several Coast Guard cutters responsible for seizing all of those drugs, some 17 tons worth. But it was this boat, Coast Guard Cutter Forward, that was responsible for the most of it. Now in the Port Everglades, it seized over 14,000 pounds of drugs alone. High seas seizure, what nearly 35,000 pounds of cocaine looks like. Chopper 4 overhead of bales of coke by the dozen on board Coast Guard Cutter Forward as they offload this haul taken in over months. Street value $466 million in drugs interdicted in the Eastern Pacific.
What you see behind us has resulted in saved lives in the United States. It's resulted in disrupted criminal networks.
An operation done in coordination with multiple agencies, including the Navy. And this was a big one, big enough. The commandant of the Coast Guard on hand to describe what is almost always a dangerous mission.
But most of the operations occur at night. They try to move under the darkness of night.
Video and pictures show their tactics, how some of the biggest stops went down with boat crews advancing, spotters with an eye on smugglers down below. This the picture as they intercept a smuggling vessel 240 miles southeast of the Galapagos Islands and uncover 1,700 pounds of cocaine hidden in the deck. Another picture is drug runners attempt to dump evidence. 2,500 pounds seized from a speedboat near the Colombian coast.
We try to video the jettison so we can tie the drugs to the vessel, to the people, for subsequent prosecution.
Riding a very rough wave, much of this work done while these men and women weren't being paid.
It would be 5-week partial government shutdown. These men and women were away from their families, a lot of things on their mind, but they kept their head in the game. They stood to watch.
We patrolled during Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and to be away during these special holidays, family time, and come back with this makes everything worthwhile.
Well, they certainly brought in a lot. Some 49 suspects were either arrested or detained as part of this operation. What happens to all of those drugs now? Well, some of it will be held over prosecution of those people. The rest of it will all likely be destroyed. We're live in the Port Everglades. Riel Creighton, CBS 4 News.